Module 8. Change and the Organization. Defining change. In this module, we will look at drivers for change, decisions and designs, and the change vision. Drivers for change. Force field analysis is a very useful tool when considering the case for change. The technique was developed by Kurt Lewin and is based on his insight that any particular set of circumstances is sustained by a network of forces that are currently in equilibrium. Lewin says, an issue is held in balance by the interaction of two opposing sets of forces, those seeking to promote change, the driving forces, and those attempting to maintain the status quo, the restraining or resisting forces. Lewin observed that in many human situations an increase in one force to create change creates a reaction in other forces, seeking to maintain the current equilibrium. He used the term homeostasis for this tendency of systems to maintain their current state. Lewin developed the use of this diagram in which the current state, down the middle of the diagram, is being maintained by a range of driving and restraining, or resisting, forces. As this diagram is drawn, a desired end state of a change process is to the right of the diagram, with all the driving forces pushing that way currently being balanced by restraining forces. If an organization desires to make change more quickly, then either the driving forces need to be augmented or the restraining forces decreased. Ideally, both of these must happen. This could, for example, involve highlighting the benefits of making a particular change while at the same time addressing staff concerns about the new processes. Take a few minutes to consider the following. For a change initiative you are familiar with, what are the driving and resisting forces that influence this change? Draw a force field analysis diagram for this change initiative to illustrate these opposing forces. Cascading decisions and designs. This topic is examined at practitioner level only but is included to set the context for defining change. The change drivers are part of a strategic process to both create an organization strategy and implement it through change. This means there are a number of feedback loops and cascading decisions and designs in the process, all of which identify drivers for change. The process moderates the strategy in change design, checks for success and manages failure. The cascading decisions are strategic decisions about the choice of business model and implementation options, identification of strategic objectives with their vision and performance scorecard if used. The change cascade works as follows. 1. Portfolio decisions about how to achieve the strategic objectives within the capability and capacity of the organization result in a portfolio-level plan. 2. A number of change initiatives are created. 3. Implementation of the initiatives includes further cascading decisions leading to delivery of outcomes and achievement of benefits. 4. Delivered outcomes can be matched against the vision and scorecard if used to measure success. At each stage, there is a feedback loop involving feasibility and design optimization so that strategy development is informed by the ability to deliver it. Portfolios, programs and projects. This topic is also examined at practitioner level only, but is included to provide a helpful context for how vision drives the effective governance of change portfolios, programs and projects. An organization's strategic intent leads to the development of change initiatives within a portfolio structure. These initiatives are typically managed through projects and programs, which provide the necessary governance structure for the organization as shown here. This is also covered in Chapter 8. The diagram shows the typical relationship between portfolios, programs and projects in organizations. A portfolio is a group of proposed or current projects and programs. It may be the whole set of changes being undertaken by an organization or a major subset of these changes. The focus for a portfolio is typically the achievement of strategic business vision and objectives within the constraints of available resources. Timescales are usually open-ended and operate on a rolling basis, with new programs and projects being added, and completed programs and projects rolling off continuously. Section A explores the role of strategy in defining change. A program is a temporary organization used to manage a group of interrelated changes, each of which may be structured as a project. A program's focus is on achievement of a strategic outcome, usually encapsulated in a vision statement, with a clear articulation of both the business changes needed and the benefits to be realized. Timescales are usually longer than for a standalone project. A project is also a temporary organization and is used to take forward a specific, well-defined and time-bound piece of work that sits outside business as usual. Projects focus on delivery of fit-for-purpose deliverables that the organization needs, against time, cost and quality criteria. They typically have shorter timescales than programs. Developing vision. Vision outlines what the organization wants to be, or how it wants the world in which it operates to be, an idealized view of the world. Mission defines the fundamental purpose of an organization or an enterprise, succinctly describing why it exists and what it does to achieve its vision. Viewpoints of the desired future state are often influenced by many different drivers. Stakeholders may be responding to symptoms without understanding the root causes of problems or failures. Therefore, the real reasons for change may not always be apparent and need to be established. Soft Systems Methods, SSM, provide a valuable toolset for capturing, exploring and selecting viewpoints. This is also not examinable. See page 98 in your handbook for additional information. The old adage, if you know where you are going, it is easier to get there, rings particularly true for change programs in organizations. You would not set off on a journey without first selecting your destination and then planning your route to get there. Business change is no different. Any other approach represents a significant business risk in which time, money and patience will eventually run out. Viewpoints and perspectives of change. An organization's stakeholders will have many different views and opinions about the vision and priorities for change. Viewpoints could be in conflict and may have to be resolved before you can proceed. There may not be a consensus about the target for change. Meaningful and lasting change is most likely to be achieved if there is a shared vision of what the business should be like in its future state. However, the desired future state is not always clear. Writing a vision statement. Creating the statement will depend on the organization, but don't be scared to make a few strong statements that stand alone. This is often easier than crafting a page of words. Perhaps create one for each selected viewpoint, setting a positive, ambitious position before reaching a consensus on the vision statement that best captures the desired future state. Although it is generally accepted that it should be short and to the point, there is no reason why it shouldn't be expanded to aid understanding. Gather together key information on which to base the vision statement. The challenge when writing a vision statement is to create a set of words that is consumable by a variety of stakeholders and audiences, uses terms that are culturally relevant, is inspirational to the audience, is verifiable so its achievement can be recognized, provides the basis for developing the blueprint or target operating model, recognizes constraints and obstacles, is appropriate in size and length for its purpose. Consider having a core statement, which is short and to the point. Create different representations of it for different audiences. Remember, a key requirement is to communicate the change vision effectively at all levels throughout the organization. Consider working on the target operating model or blueprint, at least at a high level initially. Vision statement pitfalls. Avoid these pitfalls for vision statements. The to-do list. A list of things that need to happen to achieve something, tending to focus on the obvious and often lack longevity and run out of steam in the first year. Mission statement. Some blunt statements, which sound good, but aren't a foundation for a change initiative. Management waffle. A few sentences that are vague enough so that key stakeholders can agree, but have little relevance to what needs to happen or nobody is really sure what they mean. Sermons. Goes on for quite a long time, makes lots of promises that can't be achieved or measured, but excites some people for some of the time, something for everyone, and but very little for most. Take some time to consider the following. 1. Do you have a clearer vision statement for your current change, or one with which you are familiar? 2. How can a vision statement be used during a change initiative, and what does it need to communicate? When you have answered these questions, write, or rewrite, a vision statement for change you are familiar with, using the guidance offered. End of module. In this module, we looked at defining change, development of change within a portfolio structure, vision, viewpoints and perspectives of change. In the next module, we will look at benefits management.